This specific biscuit is designed to sit on your storage shelf for 5 years without ever needing a refrigerator. It contains absolutely no preservatives and no artificial chemicals. The entire recipe is made from just one single pumpkin and 2 spoons of flour. This substance is historically known as hardtack. Soldiers during the American Civil War relied on this food, eating it 3 times every single day. They would have one cracker for breakfast, one for lunch, and one for dinner. It is exceptionally nutritious and, most importantly, it is healthy for the body. Today, I am going to demonstrate a technology that will allow you to stop depending on empty store shelves. You must watch the video to the very end because at the finish, I will reveal the absolute secret of packaging. If you make even a single mistake during the packaging phase, all of your hard work will rot in less than a month. The first step toward your survival is obtaining a regular pumpkin. Why do we use this exactly? A pumpkin is an ideal product for long-term storage. It contains a massive amount of vitamin A, potassium, and fiber. In conditions of extreme food shortages, these specific nutrients are exactly what will save your vision and your digestion. I am taking a pumpkin that weighs approximately 4 to 5 pounds. First of all, I cut the pumpkin in half. Pay close attention here, as this is an important moment. You must never throw away the seeds. They are a source of pure protein and healthy fats. We are going to dry them right along with the base of the pumpkin. In the world of survival, waste is an unaffordable luxury that you cannot permit. Please write in the comments. Have you already started making your own stockpiles? Or are you still hoping that you will just get lucky? It is very interesting to see how many realists are watching here today. I proceed by cutting the pumpkin into 8 equal parts. I preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I send the pumpkin pieces into the oven and spread the seeds out on a baking sheet right next to them. We need to bake them for about 45 to 50 minutes. The pumpkin should become completely soft, and the seeds should be entirely dry. Time has passed, and I am now taking the pumpkin out of the oven. Right now, it smells amazing, but our goal is not to make a dinner for tonight. Our goal is to create a long-term reserve. I take a spoon and start scraping the pulp into a separate bowl. We remove the skin entirely. We only need the pure essence of the product for this process. Now I take a regular fork and start thoroughly mashing the pulp. We need to achieve an absolutely smooth mass, reaching a state of tender puree without a single lump remaining. This puree is the base of our future survival bread. Now we take parchment paper. I lay out the puree and start spreading it in a layer that is as thin as possible. The thinner the layer is, the faster all the moisture will come out of the pumpkin. Moisture is our main enemy in food preservation. Where there is water, there will eventually be mold. We need to create a product that effectively preserves itself. We send this puree back into the oven. However, now the temperature should be set at a minimum, about 140 or 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's the secret to the process. The oven door must be left slightly open, literally by about an inch. This is absolutely necessary so that the moist air goes outside of the oven instead of circulating inside. When everything is completely dry, we take out the sheets. Look at them. They have become dry and brittle. They should break with a characteristic snap when you handle them. This is a mandatory condition for success. If the sheet bends instead of snapping, it means there is still water left inside, and such a biscuit will not last even a week before spoiling. I am always curious to see how far these old recipes spread across the world. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from today. Show me your country's flag in the comments section. And remember, you can always ask me a question in the comments. I try to answer everyone who subscribes to my channel. Look at the magic of this process. This entire mountain of pumpkin has turned into just a few thin plates. We have removed the extra weight and the water, leaving only the concentrated benefit of the vegetable. Now I take a blender. I break the dry pumpkin plates into pieces and grind everything into a fine flour. Why are we doing this? Flour takes up 10 times less space than a fresh vegetable and is absorbed by the body almost instantly. This is your emergency ration that does not weigh down your backpack when you're on the move. Next, we take a sieve. We need to sift this orange flour carefully. The fine part will go into the dough, and the large pieces that remain in the sieve, do not throw them away under any circumstances. We use the pumpkin 100% with zero waste. The time has finally come to knead the dough. To our pumpkin flour, I add 2 tablespoons of regular white flour or whole grain flour. You should choose the one that has the longest shelf life in your existing supplies. I pour in a small amount of warm water and start kneading. The dough should be dense, elastic, and it should not stick to your hands. The better you knead it, the more stable the final structure of the biscuit will be. I take a form and parchment paper. I spread the dough in a layer that is exactly 1 centimeter thick. That is a bit less than half an inch. Remember those large pieces of pumpkin that were left in the sieve? I sprinkle them on top of the dough like a topping. This will give us different textures and preserve the maximum amount of vitamins. Now I cut the sheet into 6 equal parts. And now we come to the most important technical moment of the entire recipe. In each biscuit, you need to make 4 to 6 holes all the way through the dough. This is not done for beauty or decoration. The holes are needed so that the hot air bakes the biscuit perfectly and evenly from the inside out. This is the only way we will achieve absolute dryness in the very center of the hardtack. A dry biscuit is a biscuit that can be stored for 5 years. A wet biscuit is poison. We send the pieces to the oven at a temperature of 325 degrees Fahrenheit. The time required is about 30 to 40 minutes until they become as hard as a rock. Just look at the result. They are rock solid. There is not a single drop of extra moisture left in them. But remember, even an ideal biscuit can be completely ruined by improper packaging. If you just throw them in a plastic bag, they will go bad in a month. By the way, this recipe is from my survival cookbook. It contains over 126 recipes for meals that can be stored without any refrigeration. These are recipes that work, that have been tested, and that you will not find on YouTube. The link is in the description below the video. Click through and get this cookbook right now as well. If you have a vacuum sealer, you should use it. In vacuum bags, this biscuit can lie for 25 years, surviving any social upheavals. But if you do not have a vacuum sealer, 5 years of storage is still enough. I do it like this. I wrap each biscuit in a separate piece of parchment. This will create an additional barrier for the food. Then I pack them tightly into a glass jar. And here is the main secret of the storage process. For the first couple of days, the jar must not be closed all the way. Leave the lid slightly ajar. Even in the driest biscuit, microscopic condensation can form after the cooling process. You must let that moisture out, and only after 48 hours have passed should you screw the lid on tight and put it in a dry, dark place. Why should everyone do this? Look at the world around you. Stability is nothing more than an illusion. Store shelves can empty at any moment due to a logistical collapse or the declaration of martial law. One such jar in your basement is a guarantee that your family will not go hungry during a crisis. Pumpkin gives energy, cleans the blood, and supports the liver. It is the ideal fuel for survival. If this ancient method of preservation has changed the way you look at the humble pumpkin in your garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are unearthing the survival history that they have tried to bury. Plant the seeds for your future. The next treasury of knowledge will be revealed soon.